In 1722, the Dutch explorer Jacob Rogwen set foot on a small island in the South Pacific. It happened to be Easter that day. So this lonely island was named Easter Island. At that time, there were two kinds of residents living on Easter Island. One was the aborigines, and their lives were still in a primitive state. The huge stone statues carved from the dark red rock are exquisite and amazing. Throughout the ages, this discovery has attracted the attention of countless explorers. These stone statues, called Moai by the local residents, have narrow and long faces, with slightly raised noses, protruding lips, and hands hanging on both sides of the body, with a majestic and indifferent expression. Faced with these huge stone statues, people can't help asking, what is the purpose of carving so many stone statues? Are they a kind of totem worship, or are they related to religion? With all kinds of questions, many geologists and archaeologists visited the local indigenous people, hoping that the people who have lived here for generations can reveal the answers. But unfortunately, the residents of Easter Island know nothing about this. None of them participated in the carving of the stone statues, or even where the stone statues came from. So, could it be the ancestors of the local residents who carved these giant stone statues? If the carvers were primitive inhabitants, how did they transport the giant stone statues? Some people speculate that the stone statues are distributed in different areas of the island, and the wooden sliding device seems to be able to play a role in transportation. There is no doubt that this primitive method of transportation can push the huge stone statue to every corner of the island, but doing so requires a considerable part of the labor force. And when Jacob Rogwen landed on Easter Island, there were almost no trees here, which made the conjecture that the giant stone statue was transported by a wooden roller sliding device lose strong evidence. According to statistics, people found that there are as many as 600 stone statues on Easter Island, each of which is 7 to 10 meters high and weighs 30 to 90 tons. Some stone statues weigh 10 tons with a hat. Another problem arises. To put such a heavy stone hat on the heads of these giants, lifting equipment is required. But it turns out that the indigenous people living in a primitive state cannot do this. According to the research of relevant scholars, humans first landed on Easter Island in the 1st century, and the stone statues were carved after the 1st century. In that distant era, there were only a few hundred indigenous people living on the island. They lived a primitive life and did not master the lifting technology at all, let alone complete this huge project. The lifting technology cannot guarantee the carving of stone statues, but the labor force is far from meeting the engineering needs. Someone did an experiment, and it took a dozen workers to work for a whole year to carve a medium-sized stone statue. In other words, to carve so many stone statues, at least 5,000 strong laborers are needed to complete them. Under the circumstances of insufficient technical level and labor shortage, how were these stone statues carved? People can't help turning their attention to the distant space. Could it be that the alien civilization helped the indigenous people? Quarries have been discovered in the Rano Raraku range on Easter Island. There, the hard rock was randomly cut like a cake, and hundreds of thousands of cubic meters of rock were excavated. Hundreds of unfinished statues still lie in the quarry. Among them, the face of a stone statue has been carved, and the back of the head is still connected to the mountain. Obviously, with just a few knives, the stone statue could be separated from the mountain, but the sculptor did not do so. The rubble in the quarry seemed to suggest that this grand project might have come to an abrupt end for some reason. The craftsmen left at the same time as if they had been summoned by something. The scene left in the quarry seems to have frozen the scene when the construction stopped. If the project had to be completed with the help of aliens, then the stop of the project was because the craftsmen received instructions from the aliens. Of course, all this is just people's speculation. Do you think the stone statue was completed by aliens to help the people on Earth? Please leave a message and tell me what you think.